Okay, quick disclaimer before we get this episode started. Yes, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm coming to you live from the middle of my skincare, self-care, facial nights. And I did not want to put this episode out without giving you a warning that the quality of sound isn't what you have come accustomed to here. It doesn't really meet our standards. However, we were recording in two different countries and did not realize how poor the connection was until editing. Yet the content is so juicy and so rich and spontaneous that we had to share it with you anyway. And I think you will appreciate it. So please forgive the sound quality and enjoy the episode. Hi, I'm Lisa Eddy, your host of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle Podcast. I'm so glad that you've made your way here and that I'm now sharing these podcasts here on YouTube. In my 25 years in the beauty industry, I have worked with thousands of women. I have witnessed so many beautiful, powerful, smart, and kind women who are hiding instead of shining. My mission is to empower you to own your true power and beauty inside and out, to be truly confident and shine through your skin. Lord knows the world needs your light. I'm committed to helping you understand the choices that you are making that are working for or against you. I'll also be sharing beauty tips and tools your mother never taught you, and together we will bust urban beauty myths. Make sure to subscribe today to receive episodes right when they are released. For those who prefer listening to the audio podcast, head over to sacredbeautylifestyle.com. That's sacredbeautylifestyle.com, and you can find the platform of your choice. Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle Podcast. Today, I have the honor and pleasure of introducing you to Iris Angellys. She is an author and facilitator of workshops. She is incredibly passionate about empowering women and helping to foster both personal health and planetary health and thriving for all people because they are actually inextricably linked. When she is not working those passions, you can find her expressing herself through art or strolling on the beach. Without further ado, welcome Miss Iris Angellys. Super happy to be here with you today.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
I hear some birds chirping in, joining us. Yes.
Yes, correct. Yes. Australian birds.
They
Yes.
want to be heard. And I was going to ask you if you were in Australia, because I know you had moved around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You have lived quite a full life. So you're in Australia now. We've got the birds chirping in. Awesome. Speaking of which, I would love for you to share a little bit about you and who you are and your journey and how you got where you are today.
That's a big question. Yeah. So I was born in Denmark originally, but have lived in any number of European countries before moving to Australia in '97. So I've been here for most of my adult life. And I am a chiropractor and applied kinesiologist and have helped many thousands of people over the years to find what it is they need to have a thriving, healthy body. And I've started observing things that I find are common in between. And that's where the book writing comes in. Kind of actually going, okay, if people actually know this, then they can take this knowledge and use it in our lives. And then they can have thriving lives for themselves so that it's not kept a little secret in amongst the people who, come to see me basically. And like you said, planetary health and people health to me is inextricably linked. It's, if we honor our physical bodies and if we can love our physical bodies, then we can't treat the planet badly as far as I'm concerned, because our bodies are from the planet. They're a gift from the planet for us to experience this lifetime in. So we're like a cell in Earth's body. So basically, if we
I love what you're sharing so much right now. I love what you're sharing. It's like our body is our home,
yes,
and so is the planet.
yes, exactly, yeah, beautifully, yeah,
Okay, go on. I just had to highlight that one.
and this is particularly women. Like, I feel that women have had to have a back seat for so long, and we have this innate knowing of our bodies, right? Usually once a month we get a reminder of the fact that we have a body that men never get, you know. So we're constantly asked to be in relationship with our bodies. And there's a living through the physical body that we have that has access to a really, really deep wisdom. If we can really embody and if we can really feel what's going on in there, then we can access all the wisdom that our body gives us. And we're encouraged to do this every day of the month, really. And if we can do that, then this planet will become healthy. It will thrive, because our basic thing is, caring for, like caring for a child, caring for our family members. If you can come to the world with a sense of care, our planet will thrive. She's the ultimate mother, really, isn't she?
Iris, this is so beautiful. First of all, I got full on chills when you were talking about it being a gift that women actually have this reminder of our connection to, I don't know if I'm going to say it right, but to Mother Earth and
Yes.
to our infinite wisdom. I don't know if our listeners know this. So, for those of you listening right now who are women, who are menstruating, that is actually such a powerful and sacred time to remember. It is actually a time when we are incredibly, our intuition is incredibly heightened. We're more in sync. And the Native Americans or the indigenous cultures, let's say, would really honor that.
Mm,
And the women on their cycles would be put together to make decisions as to where to go next. I just had to bring that in. It's just so beautiful what you're bringing,
thank you.
this connection and the power and the
Mm,
empowerment. And for those of us who don't know, I wonder if you could share what kinesiology is.
mm. So, applied kinesiology is basically a diagnostic tool that uses muscle testing. And it basically is a way of seeing whether the body is congruent with a particular thing or correction or emotional state. So it gives access to finding out where the body is at with a whole host of different things potentially. And then once you know what the problem is, then you can find a solution for it and make sure that that's the right solution for this person at this time.
I think it's such an important practice. I wanted to explain that because chiropractic care really ranges. It's one of those fields where it can really be so broad as to what a chiropractor can do. But when
Mm,
you're talking about that, you bring in kinesiology, when someone's bringing in kinesiology, it's really that holistic approach of listening. Like you were just saying, that's why I wanted to bring that in for our listeners who are, you know, to understand how we can tap in and tune in more to that infinite wisdom through understanding what our body is telling us, what our body is showing us. And I think
yes.
you do that a little bit in your book. Yeah.
Well, not in the first book, but in the second book, yes. In the second book, I basically teach people how to tune into this wisdom that our body offers. Like most of us, as we're growing up, are conditioned to feel that the body is just a tool or it's a collection of bits. And, if there's something that's not right, then you just take a pill or, you have to be happy all the time. Like that's just not life. And if you're not happy right now, that means there's something that needs to be processed. And then when you're through the process, you've learned something and you can, shine your light even brighter. And if you just take a pill, that kind of curtails that process. And if you start taking a pill for something that hurts in your body or something that's not right in your body, if you keep doing that, the problem gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, you don't get the understanding of why it is that your body is doing what it's doing. It's just trying to get your attention. It just wants your partnership in navigating this three-dimensional world. Like I sometimes think of a body as a pet. If you have an animal like say a cat or a dog or a hamster or whatever that you love and you cherish, what do? You make sure it has a nice environment to live in, you make sure it has the right food, you make sure it has enough water, that make sure it has enough exercise, and make sure it has lots of pats and feels really loved. Like if everybody could approach their body that way, giving it the right food, giving it the right water, giving it exercise, a nice place to live, lots of pats, like bodies wouldn't get sick, you know. It's really as simple as that.
I know it's so interesting how we can put others' needs so much more easily above our own, especially for women,
Yes.
where of course we're taught that and we're trained at a very young age that that's the role is to give and do at the cost of self often. And
Mm,
there's like this whole reclamation that is happening now of the return of the feminine, which she never actually left. It was we that left, we
yes.
deviated. So it's really the return of humanity to the connection to the divine, to all of that we really are.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Amen. Yes.
I love the way that you think of that. Thank you for sharing that. That's a beautiful gift. So for those of you listening who, might find that it is a lot easier for you to take care of other people or to love really big and hard on your pet, but are you doing the same for yourself?
It's always
Tell us more, Iris.
uh,
Tell
it's
us
it's
more.
always about frequency or intention. You know, like you can do something. When I go for my walks on the beach and I see litter, I will always pick it up and take it home and put it in the bin because I don't want a random bird, fish, turtle, dolphin choking on it, right? And when I started doing this, I would always get so upset and so angry and so sad that people would leave their litter out in nature and, not even consider that this has a consequence once they've gone. Like they're actually sharing this planet with a whole bunch of other creatures who are going to suffer because of their just thoughtlessness, basically. And as a result, I would come home from my beach walks with my body exercise, but my mind in turmoil. And obviously, that was quite a judgmental space to be in. Why can't these humans actually pick up after themselves? I got taught that in kindergarten, right? So now when I go to the beach and I find litter, I pick it up and I do it as an act of service towards the seahorse that's not going to hang on to this little bit of plastic, and kind of go, well, this is now one less piece of plastic that's out there potentially harming someone, someone being a fish or whatever. And now I come home with a heart of peace. So it was exactly the same thing to do, but the focus or the intention or the frequency I was doing it with is completely different. And therefore, my outcome is much different, right? So now walking on the beach is a nurturing thing for me to do again, rather than something that gets me home angry and frustrated. So I think even with the caring for, like if you care for something and you go, oh, I got to cook dinner now again for my family or for myself or whoever, it's like, oh, what am I going to do now? Oh, I'll just grab this. Versus, okay, wow, it's time for dinner. I am lucky enough to live in a house, have food in the fridge, have a working stove, and I'm lucky enough to have the means that I need in order to feed and nurture my body and my family members. Okay, what am I going to cook today? And like the outcome is going to, the food's going to taste better. It's probably going to be better food too, objectively speaking. But the food is actually going to taste better because that intention of I'm going to nurture now goes into the food. And again, am I going to be happier if I've put nurture and care into the food, even if I'm tired, even if I'm strung out, even if, if I've been really present for cooking this food, then it's going to be much, much more nourishing than if I'm angry and frazzled and go, oh, got to cook dinner again. So that's a concept to really play with. And to me, the key to the universe is gratitude, right? Like, think about it. If you have a home, if you have food in the fridge, if you have somebody who cares about you, if you're reasonably healthy, everything else is actually a problem of affluence, right? Like, everything, that's the basics covered. Everything after that is a first world problem, which is the only kind worth having, I might say. But can we just be grateful for the fact that we've got hot water in the shower? So if we can approach everything with gratitude, and it's, to me, gratitude was a practice that I decided to start when I was in my early 30s, because I worked out that the more grateful I am, the more I have to be grateful for. And
Yeah.
it's magic, that bit. And it really is a case of, if you look at everything through the eyes of gratitude and you realize just how fortunate you are and how blessed you are, it actually opens up that frequency and gives you more to be grateful for, more to be just in awe of, really, because you're coming from a place of abundance and not from a place of lack.
I love that you're sharing this right now, because I think that the law of attraction is often misunderstood. That it's like, it's the energy of it and coming from it, of like the right place, which is like gratitude, not the being angry that you don't have something, but really being, starting with like walking yourself up the vibrational scale with those thoughts of what I do have. I think there's even a Bible quote, which I've never really read the Bible, but I remember saying this and hearing this and someone saying it was a part of the Bible, but that like, he who haveth will get more, or something like that, and he who don't will be taken away. So it's like, those thoughts, that this is a known thing. The law of attraction has been with us since the beginning of time, right? So I love that you brought that in, as gratitude being the key to the universe. One of my mentors, I listened to, who's now passed away, would say to wake up in the morning and start singing like zippity doo dah, zippity yay. Remember that song? My, oh my, what a wonderful day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the way to start the day, because even no matter what we're going through, there is always beauty. There is always something to be grateful for. And I think that gratitude gets thrown around a lot, and that it's not really, it must be felt in your heart.
Yes.
Like, it must be like a feeling of gratitude, not I'm thankful, the words.
Yes.
Like, you have to feel it in your heart,
Yes.
that level of appreciation to work that piece.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that in. And
a good hint with
yeah, go ahead.
gratitude is, if you've got tears in your eyes, you got it. If it feels tingly in your body, you got it. Right? If you're just saying thank you,
Right.
and there's none of the emotion behind it, it's, the words are still good. Like, if you look at Masaru Emoto's work, he would like photograph the water crystals that had been exposed to different frequencies. Like, the word thank you in different languages has really beautiful, if slightly different crystals. So even just saying the words thank you will actually improve the quality of the water crystals in your body, and then the body of the person that you're saying thank you to. But if you can put the intention and the feeling of gratitude behind it, like, it's just explosive. It's transformational.
It is. I like how you started that with the exercise of paying attention to where you're coming from with your intentions, with your actions. Like, you were actually doing a great duty and service, but you were doing it from a pissed off place, right? From an angry
Yes.
place, because and there was something to be pissed off about, but who does it serve, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I'm helping these prevent issues for our fellow sea creatures, right? Like,
Yes.
what a beautiful space to be in. I love that. So thank you for that tip and lesson and gift for our listeners. Yeah, there's so much juiciness here already.
Yes. I love having these kind of
There was
conversations.
some, I know, you hit it off when we first met and thought, oh, would we be a good fit to, have you on the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle podcast? And it was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And the title of your second book, will you say that for us?
Yeah. Your body is the portal to your soul. Or the tagline is, your body has the answers, make it your best friend for life. And it's literally what we were talking about before, kind of going from, not understanding your body, possibly even hating your body. Like, a lot of people hate their bodies, which I find really sad. And understanding what it is the body is trying to tell us. Like, the only way the body has of actually communicating with us is through feeling, right? And the more we don't listen, the louder it gets. So it takes us through a journey of understanding what these feelings or what these sensations in our body actually mean, so that we can make our bodies our best friend and trust our bodies to guide us through life. Like, our bodies know how to do 3D physical earth life. That's what they're perfect at. That's what they're equipped to do. So if we can only listen to them,
Right.
they will tell us what they need to thrive. And if our bodies are thriving, then we can thrive, and we can do whatever it is our soul, lights up in doing, so we can live our life's purpose. So it's inextricably linked, thriving of the body with the thriving of who we are as a being that lives in this particular body. And our bodies are just trying to give us information. It's like shooting the messenger, right? Or you drive along and you're your petrol pump, your petrol's low, and you smash a little lamp that tells you petrol's low, and then the car breaks down and stops and doesn't want to run. You go, well, why did this happen? Well, you didn't listen when there was a small signal. So it takes us
That
through that process, and by the end of it, the reader should be able to truly understand, truly actually live in their body. Most of us kind of live just kind of from your eyes up. Like we see things, we hear things, we process things in the mind, but most of us aren't actually physically in our bodies, really being present for our lives and in our bodies.
Ooh, it's so true that most people are not present. There's so much that you just shared that I want to delve into. Uh, and one of it is the most people hate their bodies. It's so sad, but true. And when we say hate your bodies, when she's saying hate your bodies, we're talking about if you're listening and you're going, well, do I? I don't know if I hate my body. Like that might feel like a strong word to you, but are you looking in the mirror and insulting yourself? Are you, and you might even say, oh, I hate my boobs, or oh my God, I hate my butt or my thighs, or whatever it is. You might say that, or you might just have the feeling. And so, really, really, really paying attention to that. Do you have a tip that you would share if somebody finds themselves who's listening and going, oh my God, I totally feel that. I cannot stand blah, 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 that something has changed, or I've never liked my nose. Do you have a little nugget to share?
Come back to gratitude. And I guess I'm blessed because I've never really had that. I was never really shamed about body. So I never really got taught that, my nose is too big or my bum is too big or something like that. But it's like, what does that body part actually do for you? Like your nose allows you to, well, breathe, which is kind of important, but it allows you to experience the world through scent. And what a gift that is. Yeah, like you can smell a flower, you can smell a beautiful meal, or you can smell the skin of your lover, or you can, smell the salty air of the ocean, or whatever it is. I mean, how amazing is that? Or you can smell something that's dangerous, or something you should stay away from too. Like instead of kind of focusing on what it looks like, actually, wow, what does it do for me? How does it allow me to experience the world, this part of my body? Like, wow, I've got two legs that work and they can get me from A to B, or, I can run and kind of move my body with my legs. There's lots of people out there who haven't got working legs and they're confined to a wheelchair. What kind of existence would that be? So
Right.
I think, again, gratitude is the key. That's such a good place to start. And if it's, if you, really have issues with lots of parts in your body, just start with the one part that you don't. Start with, my hands can, pat my pet or make food and write a letter or type on the computer. Wow, my hands are amazing. Or eyes, I can see the world, I can see colors, I can see sunsets and sunrises, and they help me navigate traffic. I mean, eyes are amazing. Like they're just the most incredible little creatures, and we so take them for granted. So start with the bits that are easy, and then get into the habit of that appreciation and gratitude. And then when you're good with that, then pick the next bit that's, maybe it has some ease to it. And then as you get better and better, you're going to start creating pathways in your brain that hold this frequency and that state of being more readily. And then eventually you will be able to love the bits that you currently hate. Let's face it, it's not really about what your body looks like. Like personally, I really enjoy that people look so different. I think it's amazing, and what does that express? And how many different literal faces can human beauty wear? Like if you look at, we're always about, oh, you've got to stay young. If you look at an old person and you see the lines in their face, and you can almost tell the trajectory that their life has had by these maps that the little wrinkles make on their face. I mean, that's incredibly beautiful too. Like, why does everybody has to look like they're 20? Like that actually that actually doesn't honor the path that this person's taken and the wisdom that they've developed. So can we can we just take a step back and go, well, the outer beauty is a tiny little minuscule thing, and if that's the only thing you focus on, you will feel lack of self-worth, because what we get shown out there as far as what's desirable, nobody can live up to. Not even the people that are in the photograph look like that in real life, right? Like, they've been airbrushed, their legs have been lengthened. Nobody could walk around looking like that. So let's go past the surface of things and just go that little bit deeper. My heart is beating. It's nourishing every cell in my body with what it's doing. My heart can love. My heart can guide me through life. Wow, that's amazing. So that's how I would approach it.
That is so juicy. And by the way, side note, your heart has more micro neurons than your brain. So your heart, we have actually discovered, is smarter than your brain. Yes, your heart, ladies and gentlemen, is smarter than your brain. You heard that correctly. So let's start all listening to our heart more. I love that you brought in that the physical representations or temples, like how we all come in looking a little bit different and honoring that unique signature that we all get to express in this lifetime, in this here now moment, is so beautiful. It would be so boring. And it's also such an illusion today. So I love that you brought that in as well, because so many people are not representing themselves. I personally do not use filters. I'll choose good lighting, but I don't use filters on anything I do on social media or anywhere, because I want to show what natural beauty can look like, what a natural woman can look like. I haven't had anything done. I'm not a fan of injections because, again, it takes away our expression lines, and we
Mm,
don't even know. That's not even talking about the side effects of the health, that we don't know what we're going to discover in X amount of years that putting like Botox or these different things in your body are doing to us, because people are more concerned with the dollars that they're making off of the products, and that others that are receiving it are more concerned with the outcome. But isn't it beautiful to look, like you said, at this beautiful matured phase that actually has so much wisdom and information to share with us and can express freely? There's something about connection that I think we're losing when people are doing these different fillers and their face is not moving appropriately. And I think that a baby could misread a mother or whoever doesn't have the right facial expression. So I think that this is actually a barrier in
mm.
connection and
I just
communication through our body.
Yes, I really,
Yes,
I
spring.
was thinking about the baby thing too, actually. I'm really glad you brought that up. Like, they have shown that if a newborn looks at the mother's face, and there's this expression we do when we see babies, which is like eyes open wide, big smile, like, wow, here's the baby. That's how the baby knows he or she is loved, right? So if you can't raise your
Yeah.
eyebrows and open your eyes up wide, the baby looks at mum and doesn't feel loved and goes into deep distress within seconds, you know? So, like, hello, right? And the other thing is too that there's feedback loops between the body and the brain, right? So if we can express, we kind of give our brain feedback about where we're at, right? So if you can't express, it has to shut you off from certain emotions, because if it's not felt in the body, the brain goes, oh, okay, right, well, that obviously didn't work, right? So it's same with a smile. They
Yes.
say fake it till you make it. Put a smile on your face, and before long, you will find yourself smiling for real. Start laughing, and within 30 seconds, you'll be laughing for real. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just another numbing down. It's another disconnecting thing for humans to have
Oh,
to
I
have
love
this
that you
stuff done.
built on it.
Mm,
Yes, the barrier connection. And I think appreciating, going back to, like you said, the gratitude, appreciation, whatever you want to call it, our beautiful bodies that we've been gifted, our beautiful planet that we've been gifted in this lifetime, like the connections, the authenticity, right? And the full range of emotions. Like, let's talk about that for a second, because you were starting to say, like, if we're not expressing, we're not allowed to express with our face because we've frozen it somehow, some way, that function might get turned off a little bit. The body might go, oh, we don't do that anymore. And that emotion might get shut down. And then what happens, whether it's through that, or if you learn that it's not safe to express anger, or it's not safe to express whatever emotion, right? And we learn to stuff them. I believe that's what you're talking about with the body work in the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
And then your body is going to hit you over the head, right? You're going to get, you get these little pieces of information saying, hey, check out this, or you got to slow down, or like something is going on. I need a little bit of love. I need a little bit of attention. And the longer we don't listen, then we can end up getting like knocked upside the head with a 2x4 instead of that little whisper. So,
Oh, yes. Is that not the truth?
right? It's something like
Yeah.
that.
And I think the thing is, we have this, again, this cultural ideal of, young and beautiful and happy. And again, like if we want to feel, if we want to be present in our lives and we want to feel deeply, it requires us to accept that sometimes things happen that are unpleasant. Sometimes we feel unpleasant emotions. But if we just can allow them to be there, then they can move through our bodies, they can be processed, and they can be let go of. The more we resist them, the more they build up. Yeah. So, and I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say, I'm not perfect at this. I'm reasonably practiced, but I'm not perfect at it. But I am now prepared to sit with things that feel unpleasant and just go, okay, well, this feels really uncomfortable. But I know that if I allow it to be here for however long it wants to be here without resisting it, by the time I get out on the other side, it's going to be done. It's not going to come back. Yeah. It might come back at a different time, in a different version, but then it'll be something different. So if we can accept that human experience expression is not being happy all the time, right? You can change your mindset and go, okay, well, I'm either happy or I'm discovering something about myself. I'm learning something about myself. I'm growing in some way, shape, or form. And at the other side of this, I'm going to be super happy I went through it, because it's going to be such a gift at the other end. So either way, things are good, right? You're either happy or you're learning how to be happier, essentially. um,
Right. Or I'm on my way to a new and better version of myself.
yes, exactly. Oh, I forgot the other point. Never mind. Let's
That's
let it go.
okay.
Yeah.
There's so much beauty in all of that you just shared, and I appreciate those tips and gifts.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It was the same
I
with
wonder,
sickness. um like there are It's part of the human experience to sometimes not feel great in your body, and that's when the body has something that it needs to deal with that we may or may not know what is. you know like we talked about menstruation before, and some women have a really hard time with menstruation. So that's an opportunity to then tune into, what is it that I'm feeling right now? What is it that I'm resisting with this menstruation thing? My own personal story in that is that the way I grew up, I kind of felt like women were disempowered, and didn't seem to have any influence or power in their lives, and they were being left by men and left high and dry. And I didn't want part of that. I didn't want to be disempowered. I didn't want to be walked all over. I didn't want any of those things, and therefore I disconnected from a divine feminine. And as a result, I continuously had menstrual issues. And the problem with the physical body is sometimes we don't know what we don't know. Like, the body speaks to us in metaphors, you know? So, for example, with menstruation, I'm bleeding too much, Okay, so where are you, for example, giving too much of your essence, of your life force in a relationship or in a cause or something like that? So where is it that you're bleeding yourself dry, basically, for example? So we don't know what we don't know, but the body does give us a metaphor. So if we are prepared to kind of go, okay, well, this is what's going on right now. Acceptance is such a big thing. I accept that this is what's going on for me right now. What is it that my body is actually trying to tell me? And there's people like Louise Hay who wrote You Can Heal Your Life. That's kind of the go-to for anybody who's looking into this. Then again, that's actually a way for our bodies to give us a hint as to how we can get healthier. So if we can accept that being sick, like getting a cold, or getting a flu. It's just a part of life. Go to bed, have lots of water, sleep lots, have really good food, let it take a couple of days, and then your body will have detox at the other end. Instead of, oh no, I've got to pop a pill and stay productive. Like, where did we get this idea from that resting is bad for you, right? Like, resting is essential. A body cannot thrive, it doesn't rest. Have you looked at lions, right? They run, they eat, and then they sleep for 3 days, or they lie in the shade and flick their tails and play with their cubs. Like this idea that we've got to be continuously productive and never play and never actually enjoy the human being experience, that just sucks all the flavor out of life. Yeah. So that again ties back into gratitude. If we can start finding gratitude, then it gives us a sense of, hey, I'm enough. There is enough. And I can just rest with this and actually enjoy that I've got this life. And obviously, the commercial side of things tries to keep us away from that so that we keep buying stuff and keep working hard and keep consuming. But really, when you think about it, how much do you really need to live a life where you feel happy and thriving? It doesn't take all that much. Everything else is just trappings and distractions.
Yeah, it's really all the simple things in life. When you say, how much do you need, right? And joy and gratitude. Thank you for that beautiful
Mm.
teaching. Uh, it is so fun to share with you. And I feel like we could keep talking. And I also want to make sure our listeners get to know a little bit more about you and where to find you and all that jazz. So I wonder if you could answer a few questions. I wonder if you can answer a couple questions for us. And number one is there something that you would go back and tell your 20-year-old self that you wish that she knew then what you know now?
So many things. I think the main thing would be, you are enough, you are good enough. It is actually Hussein and the rest of the world that's insane. Like, I left my teenage years completely perplexed because what I noticed was people would say one thing and then do something that was basically going to lead to exact opposite of what they say they wanted. And I just could not make sense of it. You know, Still, like, I look out of the world and I go, this, like, it's just completely crazy, right? We say we want peace, and what do we do? Create more nuclear warheads. Like, how does this make sense? And my 20-year-old self was very, very confused about this state of humans on planet Earth, and thought that she had it all wrong. But she was actually highly intuitive and insightful, and actually knew. And I would also tell her how freaking proud I am of her, because she just you know had this internal compass and stuck with it, despite the fact that the evidence around her was telling her the exact opposite. But I held on to this nugget of, I knew that that was not what life was supposed to be like. And her courage has got me through to where I am now, which is in a completely different space. Being comfortable with being in my body, being comfortable with being a woman, having a tribe of beautiful people that get me, and that I can connect to in a really deep heart level, and working in several professions that are really deeply meaning and satisfying to me. So yeah, kudos to my 20-year-old self. She didn't know that was, well, in some level she did, but couldn't know for sure that that was how it was going to turn out. But if she hadn't done what she did, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. And I wonder if there is a big message that you would scream from mountaintops that you want the whole world to know.
I've got so many. That's why I write books, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're like, I have a lot to say, lady. That's why we're here.
So one is, your body is not the enemy. Your body is trying to talk to you. Your body loves you in the same way that you might love a forest or an ocean or a church, a beautiful architecture. Your body is trying to communicate with you. Can you please treat it like a cherished, and the cherished entity that it is, or should be? And the other one, we already touched on this, gratitude is the key to the universe. If you can just find I would actually recommend doing a gratitude diary. I did this I think for a year at one point, and start every sentence by writing by hand, I am grateful for, and then write something. I am grateful, for example, I am grateful for hot water in my shower. I am grateful for my pet. I am grateful for a roof over my head. Start with the easy things. But actually write, I am grateful every single time, because it then becomes like an affirmation. And because you're using your hand to write it, it's self perpetuating in so many ways. And if you do this for a month, it'll be great. If you do it for a year, it's awesome. But then that becomes your set point, and then life starts unfolding in these amazing and beautiful ways. So gratitude is the key to the universe is the other message.
Yes, I love it. And I love the tip to use the gratitude journal. Thank you for, I'm going to bring mine back. I typically do that. So thank you for that reminder. So it has been so lovely to spend this time with you. And thank you for sharing all of your nuggets of wisdom and heart that you feel and care so deeply really comes through. And it's much appreciated and much needed. So, where can our listeners find you?
I've got a Facebook page called Passion to Thrive, which is where I also post if I've got a workshop coming up and little quotes from my first book. So that's probably the place where I'm the most active, and people can reach out to me through that as well. So Passion to Thrive.
Okay, wonderful. And I believe you said you have a gift for the listeners as well.
I do. I have a ton of meditations on my Facebook page, and there's one in particular that's about body gratitude, where we kind of go through each part of our body and shower it with gratitude, which I think would be a really beautiful thing to do in the context of what we've just talked about. So I will give you the link so you can pop that in so it's easy to find.
Perfect. So all of the information for Iris Angellys will be in the show notes. Iris, again, thank you for everything you do and for sharing your time and heart with the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle podcast.
Oh, it's been such a beautiful conversation and so good to connect with you, Lisa. Thank you so much. And thank you to all our listeners who are out there hopefully feeling inspired and joyful and buying a gratitude journal as we speak.
I'm Lisa Eddy, your host of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle podcast, which is now being shared here on YouTube. I hope this episode brought you insights and inspiration to radiate and shine with confidence. Remember to subscribe so you receive new episodes hot off the press right when they are released. And follow me on Instagram for more juicy tips at I am Lisa Eddy. Also, ladies and gentlemen, when you subscribe, like, and share these episodes, it helps me to get seen by more people. And that means a lot to me because I am committed to reaching millions of women across the globe and waking them up to the sacred beauty lifestyle, owning their true power and beauty, both inside and out. Now more than ever, we need more women shining instead of hiding. When we band together, we are unstoppable. This is how we change the world, together. Remember the sacred beauty lifestyle and get on out there and shine. The world needs your light.